The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to the Lord.
Each year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the feast of Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up according to festival custom. After they had completed its days, as they were returning, the boy Jesus remained behind in Jerusalem, but his parents did not know it. Thinking that he was in the caravan, they journeyed for a day and looked for him among their relatives and acquaintances. But not finding him, they returned to Jerusalem to look for him. After 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were astounded at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. And his mother said to him, "Son, why have you done this to us? Your father and I have been looking for you with great anxiety." And he said to them, "Why were you looking for me? Did you not know I must be in my Father's house?" But they did not understand what he said to them. He went down with them and came to Nazareth and was obedient to them. And his mother kept all these things in her heart. And Jesus advanced in wisdom and age and favor before God and man. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise the Lord Jesus Christ.
This feast of the Holy Family can be dangerous depending on how we look at that phrase, Holy Family. Sometimes we think of the Holy Family as the perfect family. And if you look over in the Nativity, we have these statues that are in this perfect, the posture of praising the child Jesus and adoring him. And it looks like everything is just absolutely wonderful, and it keeps it out of our reach. They're on a different level of existence. I can never reach that. But you know what? They weren't perfect. I mean, if you think about it, you look at the window, so we have Mary and Joseph, the espousal, the promising that they're going to be married, and yet in between that and what was supposed to be their wedding day, Mary comes and says, "Joseph, I'm pregnant, and you are not the father." Not exactly perfect family. Kind of a crisis moment there. And Joseph wants to divorce her, wants to say, forget the whole thing. Another moment that is not exactly a perfect family situation. And they were poor. They struggled. So what is it that makes them the Holy Family? Their hope in God. Mary hoped in God enough to say yes. Joseph hoped in God enough to listen to a dream, an angel speaking to him in a dream that says, yes, you can marry her. They continue that journey of life in hope. And that we can imitate. And that we should imitate. On Christmas Eve in Rome, my good friend Pope Francis began a Jubilee year for the church. Every 25 years they do a Jubilee year, and it's a time to imitate God's love and God's forgiveness. And if you think about it, in the year 2000, there was Jubilee debt reduction plans and stuff like that, and it helped parishes to get out of debt. Didn't help them stay out of debt, as we know, but that's another story. But the thing is, it's about imitating God's love. Now, the theme of this year of Jubilee is Pilgrims of Hope. A pilgrim is someone who goes on a journey looking to encounter God. And if you think about it, Mary and Joseph did that. They had to go from Nazareth to Bethlehem, and they were on a pilgrimage. They encountered God in the birth of Jesus, our Savior. Then they had to take the child and go to Egypt for the child's protection. They were on a pilgrimage, and they hoped in God to protect them and keep them safe. And in the story today, they were on their annual pilgrimage to celebrate the Passover, going to Jerusalem. And always going to Jerusalem is always a pilgrimage. Jerusalem is built on a hill, and I was about 25 years ago, was in the Holy Land, and as we were just taking the bus ride to where we were going to be staying in Jerusalem, our guide explained to us, do you see what's happening? We're going up, and this is a religious moment. This is pilgrimage. We're going to Jerusalem to have encounters with God. Wow. So they had gone there to encounter God, the God of the Exodus, the God who brought them out of slavery in Egypt. And then on their way home, they find that Jesus isn't with them. They go back, searching, looking to encounter God. Where do they find him? In the temple. The heart of the Jewish faith, right there in the temple. That's an important thing as we go into this year as pilgrims of hope. You see, the church is inviting us all to walk together on pilgrimage, and they're saying you can make pilgrimages to Rome and to holy sites in Rome, and I don't have the money or the time to do that, and probably neither do you. But we can still be pilgrims. A pilgrim walks to encounter God. Let's think about this. At communion time, what happens? Some of you are thinking, what do you mean what happens? I get online. No, you don't. You get in procession. And that procession, believe it or not, is a pilgrimage to encounter God, Jesus, the Son of the living God, who is coming to you in the form of a meal to feed your heart, your soul, your very being with his very being. This is a pilgrimage. But we have to consciously enter that pilgrimage. But there's another pilgrimage that we can all make throughout this year. It's into our heart. Remember, Mary and Joseph encountered Jesus in the temple, in the heart of the Jewish faith. And so we can encounter God in our hearts. You know, two things regarding our hearts that I learned over the years. When I went into the major seminary, they were inviting us, there was kind of a retreat for a couple of days before the classes started. And they were inviting us to enter this time in the seminary in formation kind of as a pilgrimage. And one of the presentations that they did, they said to us, we want you to go out far and in deep. And they said, one of the image they gave us, you know, you go to the beach, and the farther out into the water you go, the deeper it gets. You go out far, but it also goes in deep. They want us to go in deep into the mystery of our faith. And they explained to us that in ancient medieval maps, they would draw a map of the known world, and then there was the ocean, and at the edge of the ocean, where they didn't know what was going on, it said, there be dragons. In other words, it's scary there. You don't want to go there. Well, we were invited to recognize that, yes, there be dragons. Go beyond your comfort zone, though, because there be God. When we go beyond ourselves, go out far and encounter God. Go in deep into the mystery of God. But I didn't realize that it was more than just going in deep into the mystery of God. For many years, I didn't realize it was also going in deep into my own heart. As you know, I've had many different journeys to Latin America, and every time we visit a poor community, the leader of that community, man or woman, will get up and say to us, from the deepest place in my heart, I thank you for being here. And I many times thought to myself, where's that? What is a deepest place? I didn't know I had a deepest place in my heart. I just knew I had a heart. But I've come to understand that, yes, there is a deepest place, and we can continue to go deeper and deeper and deeper into our heart, and that is our pilgrimage of hope. Think about it. I want to invite you to, I want to accept the invitation myself to this year, go into a pilgrimage into my heart, remembering family memories. Again, we're celebrating Holy Family. I'll remember flawed memories that we've had our problems, but also memories of joy. And memories that will remind me I wouldn't trade this family for anything. And that you probably wouldn't either. And going to that place in my heart is going to bring me to another place in my heart, which is thanksgiving for that. And then I want to go into another place in my heart where I remember love. Whether it's romantic love, and that's been there, or just friendship love. That is, I can find thanksgiving for the many different different people who've had an impact on who I am today. And that's part of the pilgrimage into the deepest place in my heart. But when I go there and I find those things, the joy from my family, the joy from friendships, and the other different memories in my heart, it also gives me hope for tomorrow, because I know that God has been with me all along, and God will be with me going forward. We're invited during this Jubilee year to imitate the Holy Family, to go on a journey of hope, to encounter God. And any one of us can do it. We don't have to go to Rome. We don't have to go to the Holy Land. We need to come here and go into the depths of our heart. And as we do that, I think we'll find that God is definitely with us. God is guiding us. God is walking side by side, holding our hand and talking to us, walking in front of us, saying, come on, you can do it, walking behind us, ready to catch us when we fall. We're surrounded by God. And that gives us hope. But there's one more thing about the Jubilee year. It is imitating God and entering the mystery of God's forgiveness, pardon. So we're in the process of rejuvenating our confessionals. We got the doors, now they've got to work on some electrical stuff inside. Maybe it's been a while. Maybe it's time, sometime this year, to celebrate that mystery of God's forgiveness. To enter that mystery, to go beyond your comfort zone, because I know we're all scared to death of that sacrament. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I got yelled at my first time going to confession because the priest didn't know that there was going to be people saying it's my first confession. And so I'm a little bit scarred there. But I will tell you this, because that happened to me as a priest, I promised myself I'm not going to yell at anybody unless they're too scrupulous and don't trust in God's goodness. Then I'm going to kind of shake them up and say, do you understand how much God loves you, for crying out loud? But it's not that scary of a thing. And so I want to invite you to think and pray about the possibility this year, during this Jubilee, during this pilgrimage of hope, to take a pilgrimage into your heart, but also into the heart of God. And we find it in all of the sacraments. And there's one that is kind of forgotten. Reconciliation. So once those rooms are ready, we're going to have some sort of a prayer service. We'll bless them, and who knows, you could be the first one to break it in, the new confessional. But that's part of breaking in our hearts, going into the depths where we will encounter God. And because of that, each one of us will grow in holiness, and each one of our families will become a little bit more